The wonderful part of being a part of a team that that even the actors, they don't get a chance to see, is all the fun I have with the designers. Our scenic designer on the show is G.B. Stevens, professor in theater, and our costume designer is Marilyn Birch. And we've worked together before. And just coming up with the concept, looking at what they come up with. I fell in love with the play for all kinds of reasons. But for me, everyone who comes to this play, I always look to see what is it about the play that causes them to fall in love with it. Because if they don't fall in love with it, then it's going to make working on it arduous. And GB fell in love with the impossible challenge of trying to create magic and realism, and work with me, who kept saying, that might just be a little bit too much. And then for Marilyn to do all this wonderful research on seminal patterns, to do the wonderful research in getting the time period correctly, 1830s to 1866. And so that's what I love. And then our sound designer is Matt Cowley. And to work with someone who is not actually a student, who's not from our program, but in imagining how that person creates sound. And then what we do on stage before we actually go on each rehearsal is we do something called a community circle. And our stage manager loves it. And our stage manager is a former student, actually. And so she learned the Seminole Blessing song that we sing, and she is able to lead us with it. And so each day before we begin rehearsal, we light some incense, and everyone stands around the circle, and it's a blending of cultures in the play. So we do a native and indigenous blessing. We sing some songs from the play. Some of them are gospel. Some of them are a language that Marcus made up that combines Seminole language with a language that he put with it. And we sing, and someone tells a story. And then that's how we begin our rehearsal.
I didn't even know that the first free town was Indian and Black for Blacks. And I also didn't really know about the Seminole and American War. I didn't really know much about it. I was familiar with the Trail of Tears. I knew that it happened, but I didn't really know that they had fought 3 times before they actually were removed from the land. And that the first war that the United States really lost was against the Seminoles. They had to pull back twice because the Seminoles were winning. So it's this basically anything involving Seminole and U.S., I feel like now I actually know what happened. Before this, I really didn't know. I feel like this is a part of history that we don't really ever talk about. And also the mixing of Blacks and Seminoles, and how some of the Seminoles, how they treated the Blacks. Some were slaves, some were more of friends, but you still had them as your slave if you needed them to be your slave. And then things like this where everyone's free and it's an even plane. It's just things that I feel like I didn't really learn this in history class at all.
I think it's very interesting how it touches upon a part of history that is so seldom spoken about, just Seminole culture as a whole, and how all the characters are based on people who existed throughout history, specifically throughout the Trail of Tears and the first settlement in Wawoka, Oklahoma. And I really enjoy the fact that we are giving this culture a chance to shine.
I think people essentially in the core of their being are the same. Everybody feels the same thing. You have love, you have hate, you have longings and dreams and disappointments and hurts and everything. Everybody has the same thing. You might react to them differently, but you have those same things. So the best acting is not acting at all. The best acting is being. So you find in the script what that emotion calls for, and you find in your life where that emotion has been called upon you, and you put the two together to make it feel authentic. So, and a director it's their vision, the overall. It's their vision, but the best directors let you do what you're going to do and then fit that into their vision.